Italian Open 2025. Coco Gauff beats Victoria Mboko. Alexander Zverev starts title defense strong. Coco Gauff overcame a stern test from Canadian teenager Victoria Mboko to win her opening match at the Italian Open on Friday night. More tennis news. The number 4 seed came from a set down to win 3-6, 6-2, 6-1 in a hard-fought second-round matchup lasting 1 hour and 43 minutes. Mboko stunned Gauff early, taking the first set with composed defense and capitalizing on a string of errors, including back-to-back double faults at 5-3. Gauff responded decisively, breaking Mboko in all 4 of her service games of the second set while drastically cutting down on her unforced errors. She carried that momentum into the third set, winning 6 straight games to seal the win and deny Mboko a breakthrough in her first-ever match against a top 10 opponent. Victoria played great tennis, Gauff said after the win. She forced me to play like that, so full credit to her. I was pretty composed because I felt like I was playing the right way in the first set, just not necessarily connecting on some shots. I just felt like if I just started to land more balls in, it would go my way. Gauff hit 25 winners to Mboko's 13 and converted 9 of 13 breakpoints in a composed finish. She will now face no. 32 seed Magdalena in the third round. Meanwhile, defending champion Alexander Zverev made a dominant start to his Rome title defense on Friday, cruising past Camilo Ugo Carabelli 6-2, 6-1 in just over an hour. I think in general it was a pretty good match, Zverev said. He's obviously not a guy who has the biggest game, but all in all I did my things well and I'm happy about that. The German broke 6 of 10 breakpoints in what was a largely comfortable win. He will now face Lithuanian qualifier Vilius Galvas in the third round. Elsewhere, Jack Draper silenced the home crowd with a commanding 6-1, 6-4 victory over Italian Luciano Darderi to kickstart his campaign. The 5th seed will next take on Czech qualifier Vít Capreva, where he will be aiming to clinch his 100th tour-level win. Daniil Medvedev also progressed comfortably, dispatching Cameron Norrie 6-4, 6-2. He will meet Australia's Alexei Popyrin, the 24th seed, in the third round. Data debrief. Gauff makes history. Zverev extends clay court dominance. Among active players, only Iga Swiatek, 14, has registered more wins in women's singles at the Italian Open before turning 22 than Coco Gauff, 13. In fact, Gauff has an excellent record in Rome, having twice before reached the semifinals in 2021 and 2024, losing to eventual champion Swiatek on both occasions. Zverev, meanwhile, has won his 64th ATP Masters 1000 match on clay, equaling Stan Wawrinka, 64, for the second most among active players on the surface, trailing only Novak Djokovic, 137. The clay courts of Rome came alive once again as the 2025 Italian Open served up a spectacular opening week, filled with rising stars, high-stakes drama, and the unmistakable hum of a sport in transition. Beneath the statuesque gaze of Roman ruins and in the shadow of the Colosseum's enduring strength, tennis found its pulse again, not just through the thunderous forehands and breathtaking rallies, but through the changing of the guard. On the women's side, Coco Gauff, the fearless American phenom, sent a resounding message to the field as she overcame an inspired challenge from Canadian upstart Victoria Mboko. Meanwhile, on the men's side, defending champion Alexander Zverev began his title defense with ruthless precision, looking every bit the gladiator in his Roman return. Let's dive into the match day magic. Coco Gauff versus Victoria Mboko. Youth meets fire. It wasn't just a match. It was a showcase of the future. When Coco Gauff stepped onto court Pietrangeli in her signature visor and calm but fierce demeanor, fans already knew what she brought to the table: elite speed, tactical intelligence, and a fighting spirit shaped in fire since her Wimbledon breakout years ago. But across the net stood someone just as hungry. Victoria Mboko, the 18-year-old Canadian powerhouse with Congolese roots, didn't arrive in Rome just to make up numbers. She came to belong. Ranked no. 42 entering the tournament, Mboko had been quietly making noise on the circuit, her raw power, fluid movement, and unshakable confidence drawing comparisons to a young Serena Williams. From the very first point, the match sparkled. Mboko came out swinging, quite literally, unleashing backhands that clipped the lines and forehands that stunned even Gauff's famously solid defense. She broke Gauff in the third game with a blistering cross-court winner, letting out a primal yell that echoed through the stadium. But Gauff wasn't rattled. She responded the way champions do, by digging in. Adapting quickly, she began to take pace off her shots, slicing deep, dragging Mboko into awkward angles, and mixing up her serve placements. Her tennis IQ was on full display as she won 5 of the next 6 games to take the first set 6-4. The second set turned into a duel of wills. Mboko raised her level again, holding serve with aces and even forcing Gauff into uncharacteristic errors with her relentless baseline power. At 5-5, it seemed the match might tilt. But once again, Gauff found a higher gear. With the calm of a seasoned warrior, she broke Mboko's serve after a 16-shot rally, then closed out the match 6-4, 7-5. "I knew I had to be smart out there," Gauff said afterward. "Victoria is incredibly talented. This definitely won't be the last time we face off." And she's right. The tennis world saw the seeds of a future rivalry planted firmly in Rowan clay. Alexander Zverev. The Roman lion roars again. Last year, Alexander Zverev claimed the Italian Open crown in spectacular fashion. His comeback from injury complete, his power reestablished, and his place among the elite reaffirmed. Now, in 2025, Zverev has returned not as a man with something to prove, but as one with something to protect. Facing off against seasoned clay courter Roberto Carballes Baena, Zverev didn't waste time. Under the warm Roman sun, his serve was booming, his footwork fluid, and his forehand firing like a weapon of war. Zverev dictated from the baseline, moving the Spaniard corner to corner, forcing short balls, and attacking with his underrated net game. He took the first at 6-2 in just 38 minutes. But Carballes Baena is no pushover. Early in the second, the Spaniard broke serve after a rare double fault from Zverev and held his own with stunning drop shots and gritty defense. For a moment, it looked like we might be in for a classic clay court grind. But Zverev reset, refocused, and reloaded. He broke back immediately, then reeled off 4 straight games with a combination of thunderous ground strokes and sneaky touch shots that had the crowd roaring. Final score, 6-2, 6-3. "It feels good to be back," Zverev told press. "Rome brings out something in me. Maybe it's the energy. Maybe it's the crowd. I want to keep building on this." With Novak Djokovic skipping the tournament and Carlos Alcaraz nursing a minor injury, the path is open, and Zverev looks ready to walk it again. A tournament of transitions. This year's Italian Open feels less like an event and more like a mirror, a reflection of tennis in motion.